And I came in today to talk about your president, y'all. Months back, I started to talk about him when he got into office, and we could pretty much see, what we had gotten. And, I was disgusted, and I would come in periodically and just talk about all the stuff that was going on in the news and what I was seeing and how I felt about it. But after a while, so much stuff was happening that I was like, you know what, this is too much. I cannot talk about this man. And excuse me, y'all, I have a mic and I'm trying to use this mic to talk to y'all. So I had to move it around a little bit so it's not in my mouth. But all this stuff that's been going on in the news is making me worried, y'all. I will be 53 years old in the next 2 months. And while I haven't seen a whole bunch of presidents, I have lived through a few. Been taught to vote and to go out and do my part, and I've tried to do that. Over this last year, I've been talking to my mother about this president, and here recently, I started talking to my grandmother about it. My grandmother is in her 90s, and she has seen a lot of presidents, as y'all can imagine. And in talking to my grandmother and hearing her say, seen anything like this in her entire life. Our grandparents who are in their 90s have lived through a lot. Depression, the civil rights movement, and they've also lived through a whole bunch of messed up presidents. And they understand what a presidency should be and what it should look like. And when they say that they're scared, that what they're seeing is not normal, it makes people of my generation sit up and take notice. You know, when you have a president like the one we have now, the only thing that we can do to change anything that's going on is to vote. And since right now it's not the time to vote, we are basically just trying to survive this man's presidency. Be it, you know, hanging on to your job, buckling down and just trying not to let what you're seeing on television bother you, protesting, whatever form that's taken. You are just trying to survive this man's presidency. Now, after sitting here paying attention to him over the last year, pretty much what I'm getting from him and his family is that they are not really about America. They are all about that Trump brand. That whole thing that he was saying about make America great again, to me, it's about making the Trump brand great. It's not about America. I don't think that he has America's best interest at heart. I really don't, y'all. I believe that this is all about him, and he is profiting from the presidency. Also, too, a lot of the stuff that he's doing is motivated by his intense hatred of Barack Obama. He is working from hatred and trying to erase everything that Barack Obama did. And I believe, y'all, that this all stemmed from a couple years ago. President Obama had a White House correspondents meeting, and Donald Trump was there. And this is where the journalists come and they crack on each other, and they just fuck with each other. So it was at the point where Barack Obama was to stand up and give his part and do his little spiel, and he put Trump on the spot and basically told him, while you're there, the head of a reality show, I'm running the country and one of the greatest, right now, the most influential man in the world, and you're running a reality show. And I believe that fucked with Trump's ego, and he vowed to get him back. And I believe that this dismantling of everything that Barack Obama did is a mission of his. And along with that, profiting from the presidency. Now, when you look at Trump's administration, y'all, all of those folks appear to be crooked. They all have some tie, or they've sat down and talked to these Russians. For what reason, y'all? Russia is our sworn enemy. Have always been since I have been aware of politics. Since I got to the age where I started paying attention to politicians, and how what they do in Washington affects me as just an average American. I've always known that Russia was our enemy. Why were they talking to them? He doesn't want to hear that Russia may have helped his administration get in, because that is, fucking with his ego, that it wasn't something that he did on his own, because he knows that that's what Obama did. He got in on his own merit, going out there and all of that. And not to say that this simple-minded president didn't go out there and campaign, but he campaigned on and from a position of hate and profiting and making Obama pay for what Obama said to him in that correspondence meeting. That's where it stems from, y'all. Administration, and the FBI is investigating them, and all of that. It makes you pause and say, if there's nothing there, why all the investigation? Why are they hiding stuff? Why do they have this broad come out every day and give a press conference and stand there and lie about shit that we can clearly see? And then he takes the media and he tells you, don't pay attention to anything that they say, that it's fake news. And you have that certain element here in America that are riding blindly with this man. No matter what he does, they are supportive. No matter what he says, they are supportive. And it worries you. It worries you. Y'all gotta realize that right now there are more non-white people here in America than there are, y'all get what I'm saying. I lost my train of thought. I have the news on and something else is flashing across. But I think the fear of that certain segment of white people is that they're going to lose their place in America, and they're running scared. When we could all just live here in peace, if we didn't have who we have in this White House today. Now, a man that he is not coming in there, y'all, for the good of the American people. This is all about him and his fucking ego. And claiming credit for Obama's achievements, with the economy and jobs and all of that. I'm like, sometimes I sit here and I'm like, what the hell is going on? He is creating instability not only here in America, but around the world. Y'all, we're not on this planet alone. There are other countries on this planet that whatever happens in America directly affects them. We used to be like one of the greatest powers on the planet, but we are slowly being edged out because they do not have respect for who we have in the White House. I think the other, the other countries, they understand that this is not what the American people believe. This is not who the American people are, that it's our president. It's this man. They understand that, but they also see it was us who elected him. You know, they didn't want Hillary. So they got who we got in the White House now, and he's causing racial problems in the country. Think of what he said about Charlotte. Think of what he said about Charlottesville. Yeah, that was it, Charlottesville. Think of what he said about good people on both sides. You got neo-Nazis, skinheads, KKK out there protesting to the point that someone was killed. A young woman lost her life just fighting for what she believed in. And you're going to tell me that that's good people on both sides? This man is going to destroy us from within. Y'all, years ago, in my early 30s, I had read this book called Left Behind. And it was based on the Bible. I don't know if any of you have ever read this book. The series is about 16, maybe 18 books. And in this book, the first book starts off right after the rapture, where God comes to earth and claims his people. And then the following series, the books in that series talk about the rise of the Antichrist and how he rose up through politics and how he alienated everyone, and took charge of the world. And when I first read that first book, let me tell you, my friend gave me that book at work around 1:00 in the afternoon. I read it all while I was at work. I went home, was cooking dinner for my kids, getting them ready for, school the next day, helping with homework, doing the whole nine that you do as a mother. Read it all through that. Stayed up all night, read the book, went to work tired and mad at my friend because she had given me that book. But the book was so interesting. It showed you how, when you got someone like this who is telling you the media is fake, don't pay attention to them, that he is changing, he's the only one that can change the fortune or the way that America runs. You got to be scared of that. Because when I was reading that book, think about it, it's 16 books. It systematically went through how this man took over the world. And Donald Trump has some type of complex where I don't know what happened in his childhood that we get this man that we have today, where he doesn't seem to be a person that likes to read or understand what's going on in the world and how it affects us as Americans. Because I even heard that when they try to come in and give this man his daily briefings, he doesn't want to hear it. He said they talk too much. Y'all, when I heard that, I was like, how are you going to know what's going on in the world? You don't want to, get your daily briefings where you have to sit and read them. You don't want the people that do it to come in and actually say, Mr. President, this is what's going on in this country, this is what's going on in that country, and this is how it affects us as Americans. He don't want to hear that because it's all about him. What have we elected, y'all? What have we put in office? Have y'all been watching the news? Now, a lot of people don't sit up and watch the news, like I do now. And I think it's because I'm just at an age in my life. I'm also off from work. I'm still on my disability, so I got a lot of time on my hands. And I'm watching all this stuff daily, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on in our country? What is going on? Then you got Congress just lying for him, turning a blind eye to what he's doing to get out of it what they need. They're going along with all this shit that he's doing because they have an ulterior motive. We are fucked, y'all. We are fucked. I think about it. If this is his first year, we got at least 3 more years with him. I was talking to my son the other day, and my son was like, Mom, do you think that, they will impeach him? I said, I think what's going to happen is he's gonna do these next 3 years. The FBI, the CIA, and all those different departments who are investigating him, they're going to complete their investigation. And we're going to know about what's going on with him, but we may not know about it until he's out of office and he's screwed up America and America's standing in the world. I truly believe that we're going to find out because when Nixon was doing his shit, it was reporters and investigative journalists who kept digging. It was the FBI, the CIA, and all those different branches and divisions of government that kept digging until they got the whole story of what happened. And I believe that that's going to happen with Trump. But in the meantime, and in between time, what are we going to do? And that's what I mean by surviving this man. When he has told you, don't pay attention to the media, they're fake. When he has told you the FBI is a terrible, division and all this stuff, the CIA ain't about shit. Why is he doing that? These are institutions that in the past have helped to protect America against foreign and domestic enemies. If you're not paying attention to them because he told you not to, then what's left? It's only him. He is working like a dictator. And the fact that people are actually believing him and still riding with him boggles my fucking mind. I am not like a person that knows everything that's going on in politics. I'm just an average person sitting here watching it, the evening news and trying to figure out what's going on. These people that are in the media, the journalists and the reporters and CNN and MSNBC, they're only trying to do a job. They're only trying to get out a story about something that's going on. If we don't believe them, we don't believe the FBI, we don't believe the CIA, we don't believe nobody but him. What does that say about us? And when you look at him, I remember when he was talking about Charlottesville, he got an attitude because he had to stand there and disavow white supremacists. Y'all, when he says, I am the least racist person that you have seen, I don't believe that shit. Him and his father were something else, taken to court several times about, because they were discriminating against people of color. His father was arrested at a Klan rally, y'all. I mean, think about it. This stuff that's going on in America. Like I said, when I listened to my grandmother talk about it, this shit got me worried about being in America. I remember a few months ago, he went to the G6 summit or whatever they call, those summits that he went to. Normally, when the American president goes to that, he is the center of attention. When they take that group picture, America is smack dab in the middle. This man was so far off to the left, he damn near wasn't even in the picture. And then after they took the picture and they sit back down at the table, and they're all the different world leaders are interacting. I watched him. They were shying away from him. He got up and went around the table and went over there and sat by Putin. The man that helped get him in office. This administration, something is wrong there, y'all. Something is wrong. Even to the people that he brings and puts them in these different positions in his administration. It seems like he is going out and deliberately finding people who are not qualified to head up those departments that they've been put over. To me, it seems like he's getting people that are hell bent on tearing those departments apart. And then you got his gang of cohorts. Steve Bannon, that guy Miller, who looks like one of them damn children of the corn. That Kellyanne Conway. They are blindly following him like he is some type of god or something. What the fuck is going on, y'all? What is going on? And how, in the end, how is this going to end up for us as Americans? Like I said, I don't think the rest of the world believes that the American people are like him, but he represents us in the world. Then he doesn't really want to interact with other world leaders. He picks and chooses the ones that he interacts with. And then even the people who are our allies, he's getting in arguments with them. I believe, is a racist. I'm just going to keep it real. This man is a racist. He is uneducated. I don't care what schools he said he went to. I believe that he only got in due to his money and who his parents were. And when he got there, I don't believe that he did a damn thing. I really don't. All this fucking tweeting that he's doing, going on Twitter and having fucking 70-year-old temper tantrums, talking shit about everybody, fucking with that crazy ass Kim Jong-un, he gonna get us fucked up. Because if our enemies band together and say, you know what, we're tired of America, divided, we can't conquer America, but if we band together, we can. We just had a threat to Hawaii that they said was a mistake. Someone accidentally pushed the wrong button. I mean, how does that even happen? How does that even happen? And when I was talking about the rest of the world banding together to attack America, if we have alienated all the people who are our allies, who would come and help us defend our honor, and we got to fight alone, we ain't that bad, y'all. And we are not the only great civilization that has ever been on this earth. There have been other great civilizations. Where are they at now? Someone defeated them. And with this man that we got in office now, y'all, and what he's doing here in America, I don't even know, y'all. I don't even know. Like I said, when I was talking to my grandmother and she was telling me her ideas on what we're seeing, she scared me. I left there like, damn, if my grandmother feels like this, that shit is scaring me. Our kids, I was telling my son the other day, I said, pay attention to what's going on. Because when you have kids, this is going to be in their history books. And you're living it right now. You're living all of this turmoil. Every day we turn on the news, we got something going on with Congress. They're kicking people out the country. Now, I'm not saying that all these people who have come here, came here with good intentions. But isn't it funny that the ones that he's kicking out are people of color? You got people from over in Europe coming here and other places coming here. Why is he so focused on the people that are coming here that are who got some melanin in their skin? I would sit up and watch these Mexicans on television telling their story. Hell, where I used to live at, right next door to me, I had an Asian family. Across the street from me, there was a Mexican family. People in that house, that Mexican family's house, there was some grandparents. There were, the people that was around my age, and then some kids. I saw everybody in that house every morning getting up, going to work. Those people are coming here because they want a better chance. Hell, Trump's parents came here from someplace else. That's what America is built on. We are a country of immigrants. He wants a system where he said it's merit based and talked about certain countries as being shitholes. And you got people on television justifying that shit. Well, he didn't quite mean this. This is what he really meant. No, he said what he meant. He doesn't want people from these shithole countries coming here. That's what he said. And then those people that were in the room with him that are lying for him, this shit is crazy. Yo, I'm gonna go back to that book that I read. In that book, the Left Behind series, the people who were against the person who they claim in that book was the Antichrist, they will go in to speak with him. It was like us, y'all, where they didn't believe in what he was saying. Once they went in and came back out, they were changed, and then they were writing for him, like these people are doing now. I'm gonna tell y'all, if you ever want to read a book about, you know, base, it's a fictional account of things that happen in the Bible, read that Left Behind series. Those books are really good, and the reason why I keep bringing up those books is because it's strangely paralleling what's going on in America right now. As soon as Trump came into office and I started seeing all the shit he was doing, it made me say, you know what? That book that I read years ago is like what's happening now. This people would go into the office and speak to that person who was the Antichrist in those books, and they would come out singing a whole different tune. Think about Steve Harvey's Simple As when he went to the White House, and all the people who are around Trump, they seem like they have been brainwashed. Do y'all know that I don't even, when he's on television speaking, I turn the volume down and I turn my head away? I jokingly said that I believe that he was the Antichrist. My son, he was like, Mom, I don't believe that the Antichrist is one person. I believe that, well, he told me what he believed that the Antichrist is. Because I told him, I said, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Because when Hitler was around, they thought he was the Antichrist, and different people that have, historical figures, they thought they were the Antichrist. But if he's not, he got Antichrist-like tendencies. I look at his family, all of them are crooked. People feel sorry for Melania. I don't feel sorry for that bitch. I really don't feel sorry for her. She know what she got. I believe she married him for his money. She had that son by him, and she probably has threatened to leave his ass several times, but he tells her she can't take his child with her. And I believe that's why she stays. Because she believes that if she leaves, she probably won't be able to take her son with her. I do not feel sorry for that bitch at all. You know what you got, and you're staying with him because of who he is. Y'all, I just don't know. I had wanted to come on here today after sitting up here watching what's going on with this man, and just simply talk about everything that is happening with him. Because in the end, it's going to be us, y'all, that suffer his presidency and all the shit that he's doing. And you know, whenever stuff happens, it's us as Black people also that we get like the brunt of shit. In our communities, we get the worst of everything, you know? And that worries me for our people too, because a lot of this targeted stuff is us, y'all. And, you know, for him to say that the people that come from Africa, you know, are not worthy and all of this stuff, I look at it like this. Hundreds of years ago, when y'all needed hard-working people, you sailed to the shores of Africa and you sure went and got them, Africans, to come here and build this country. We wasn't shiftless and worthless then. He's talking about our mother country. Whether you have any connection to it or you feel you have any connection to Africa, that's where our people came from. That's where our ancestors came from. And he is saying that they are pretty much not worthy to be here. But think about it, y'all. When they needed us, when they needed to build this great country of America, they sure went to Africa and got them and helped build this shit. I'm so sick of him. I am so sick of turning on the news every day and seeing some outrageous, crazy, off the wall shit that they're doing. They're in there pimping the White House, y'all. Look, they let the Russians into the Oval Office. How do we know that the Russians didn't plant some bugs so they can hear everything that's going on? From what I understand, most of the past American presidents did not allow the Russians, I guess, not only into the White House, but into the Oval Office. You know, he let Russian journalists come in. He didn't even let the American journalists come in. We got what happened during that time, not from American journalists. We got the information from the Russians. And then I want to go back to what he's doing to the media. They are fake news. Like I said, you may not believe everything that all these different news agencies are reporting. But trust and believe, there are very good journalists out here who are following a story, who see something wrong and they're trying to report it. And he's telling you, don't pay attention to them. Why is he doing that, y'all? Why is he doing it? What does he have to hide? This guy Mueller, who is investigating them, who is taking his time and systematically calling in all these different people in the Trump administration. I wish him luck. I want him to dig out whatever it is that they're trying to hide, whatever connection that they have with all those Russian oligarchs and shit over in other countries. Because y'all, as sure as my name is Rachel, this administration is crooked and they are hiding something up, y'all. Y'all know as Black people how we can smell shit. We can walk into a room and stand there and we can be like, you know what, something ain't right in here. Something ain't right with them. And we're watching it slowly play out on television. It's just that we can't put it all together now because there's so many pieces out there. And what Mueller is doing is he's bringing all those pieces together to create the story of what's going on, to give us what they're hiding. But Trump is saying, don't pay attention to them. Fuck the FBI, fuck the CIA, fuck all the government agencies. Just fuck them all. Fuck the media, fuck everybody. Pay attention to me. Before we know it, y'all, we're going to be living in a country where we got a dictator that's telling us what to do and where to go and all of that. And changing laws that ultimately affect us as Black people. Because, like I said, we always the ones that fare the worst. I was just talking to my son. I was like, what if, you know, these people blindly follow him. He achieves this thing of being a dictator, and they decide that they don't want us to be free no more as Black people. Y'all, I am not one to be out running with picket signs and all that. But y'all, when I tell y'all I will be out here fighting my ass off, I will be like one of the great heroes that we hear about in slavery, because there ain't no fucking way, you know, that I would allow our rights to be stripped from us. Shit that we don't fought for. You know, we just have Martin Luther King holiday. You know, time when he was talking about Martin Luther King, he was like, yeah, look, he lived a few years ago and blah blah blah. He was bored with it because he has no interest in stuff like that. He did his little speech, and some of the King family members was there because, you know, when I think about when I saw them there, I was like, what the hell are y'all doing there? Don't go meet with him. He don't believe in anything that Martin Luther King stood for. I don't believe that he believes in civil rights. Y'all, he's my mother's age, like in my mother's age bracket. That was the civil rights time, the ass kicking time, when Black people were saying, look, I will die for what I believe in and for my rights. He grew up in that time. He's not my grandmother's age, but this is a man that has definite dislike of people of color. He's racist. And I don't know, y'all. I just think that we need to be paying attention, planning what we're going to do if shit go left, because it's going left. I watched the other day Cory Booker tell off one of Trump's people, and it did my heart proud. It was another Senator, Kamala. I can't think of her last name. She told that bitch off too. I was sitting there like, you go ahead, y'all. And something else, I'm on the road today, y'all. I'm just all over the place. Y'all, a lot of these movies that they make about Black people and stuff that happened in the past, I try not to watch because it makes me mad and I'll be on a tangent. The other day, I finally watched Selma. And the scene when they are crossing that Edmund Pettus Bridge, or trying to cross the first time, and all of those police are standing at the end of that bridge waiting for them with nails and bats and whips and chains and all of that stuff. And the way that they beat those people down and the hatred and all of that. Honestly, as Black people, we don't actually hate everybody. We don't actually hate other races. We are reacting to what is being done to us. Black people are like this. If you treat me fine, then I'm okay with you. But if I smell any crazy shit, then I got a problem with you. We are only hating other people in response to the way that they're treating us. When I sat up there and finally brought myself to watch Selma, and I thought about all the people that have come before us, y'all, and went out there and gave their lives to what we have now. I told my son, I said, my mother's generation was the ass kicking generation. My mother grew up during the civil rights movement. In their generation, I believe my grandmother's generation was the go along to get along. They believe keep your head down, work hard, get your little piece of America, and keep quiet. My mother's generation, on the other hand, was like, fuck that shit. I ain't keeping my head down. We the ass kicking generation. We're the marching generation. We're the generation that's burning down cities and all that. They was the ass kicking generation. generation that said, fuck that, I will die for what I believe in. My generation started to reap the rewards of what my parents' generation did. But our kids, y'all, don't want to hear about it. They don't have no concept of what was done for them to have the rights that they have today, and they don't want to hear about it. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, when my kids were growing up, every year when Martin Luther King's birthday comes, I take time and I actually listen to the I Have a Dream speech. And I made my kids listen to it too. And every year that I've been, awake, I guess you could say, I have done that. And this year was no exception. It pisses me off that this generation don't want to hear about people that gave their lives beat, burned, hanged. They don't want to hear about that because they have no concept. Like I told my son, when I was younger, back in the 70s and stuff, and there were still places that Black people can go. And you would go to those places and white people would say shit to you openly. I don't think our kids experience some of the things that we experience, and they reaping the rewards of everything that past generations have done for them. And we done made these motherfuckers, we done spoiled them, gave them everything they want. They in this tech generation, they don't want to hear it. They do not want to hear it. And that's why when my kids were growing up, I made them sit. No, you about to sit down and you gonna listen to this speech. If this is the least we could do on Martin Luther King's birthday, this is the least we could do. Just take 3 minutes and sit down and listen to this speech. Because say what you want to say about Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, something that they had that I don't think we have is they truly meant that they were willing to give their lives so we can have it better. Remember when Martin Luther King did the speech where he said, I may not get there with you, but we as a people will get to the promised land? It's almost like they knew that they were going to be here for a little bit and they were going to do stuff to try to help, but they would not see it happen. Imagine Martin Luther King, when he was assassinated, he was only 39 years old. He did all of that in his 39 years. I was just telling my son the other day, my son will be 31. I said, think about your life. You're 31 years old. Look at all the shit that Martin Luther King had probably done by the time that he was your age. Respect their elders and respect that what has happened to allow them to live the lives that they're living today. They take it for granted. And we as their parents, we allow it, some of us. Even to, I got one child that pays attention to politics. Of course, it's my older one. And then I got one that's, she's 23 and she pays attention a little bit only because I've drawn it into her. That you have to honor, you got to honor the memory of those slaves that were brought over here on slave ships. Y'all, to keep it real, this shit almost makes me cry. We got to honor those slaves that were brought here, that were kept on plantations. We got to honor our grandparents, our great-grandparents, history, because everything that they did is allowing us to live the lives that we are living today. Think about where you live now. Think about where you live. Years ago, you would not be living there. Think about where you work at. Years ago, you would not be working there. Think about this, y'all. We got so many people that won't go vote. Black people saying, it ain't gonna change nothing. But what makes me vote, y'all, I'm just gonna be honest. Every time I think about the people marching across the Edmund Pettus Bridge trying to help us get the right to vote. Y'all, this was just in the 60s. I was born in 1965. Every time I think about those people who look like me being beat by those police officers, it makes me get up off my ass and go down to this school that's just down the street from me and go vote. I feel guilty not voting because I get to thinking about, you know what, Rachelle, there were people that couldn't vote and they took the chance to getting beat the shit beat out of them just to go vote, and we got the right and we won't even do it. And we got all these excuses for why we won't do it. Well, it ain't gonna change nothing. Just go vote. We don't know if it will change because we ain't doing it. That's another thing I drummed in my kids. Go vote. My son, sometimes when I'm sitting here like, shit, it's 5 o'clock. I know the polls close at 7. My son will call and say, Mom, did you vote? Because see, I done drummed it into them. So now they check in and make sure, hey, bitch, you told us to vote. Did you go vote? Even to when President Obama was elected, my daughter was about 13 or 14, and I had taken her with me. And I knew that what President Obama's, if he was elected, it was going to be historic. So when I went into the booth, I let my daughter push the button for him. I told her when she was pushing the button, I said, if he wins, this is going to be in the history books. And you're going to be able to tell your kids that my mom took me, let me go in the booth with her and she let me push the button. I was only 13 or 14. I wasn't old enough to vote, but I actually pushed the button for my mother and voted for President Obama. Say what you want to say about him, y'all. He was the first. He wasn't perfect. He didn't do everything right. He had no blueprint. He got in there and he did what he thought was right. They ran this man, talked about him, and treated him like he was fucking a slave. Anything that he tried to do, they fought against it. Here in America, y'all, what I realize is, unless we stand up for ourselves, we are always going to be on the bottom. The reason why I'm talking about this is because with the president that we have now, since the civil rights movement, this is one time in history that we are on shaking ground again. They are slowly chipping away at everything that we have accomplished over the last 50, 60 years. Y'all take a moment and think about it. It is 2018. Just about 50 to 60 years ago, all of these rights that we have now, we did not have. That is not a long time ago. That is not like hundreds of years ago. That is in my lifetime. I will be March the 10th, 53 years old. Y'all, I even remember when they were fighting to make Martin Luther King's birthday a holiday. I was in middle school. I remember that distinctly. And I remember when it happened. And I remember when Stevie Wonder came out with that song, Happy Birthday to... I remember all that. I remember our teachers explaining to us how important that was. Another thing me and my son were talking about, y'all, this is going to be all over. My son was asking me about Black History Month. And I waved my hand. I threw my hand at him. And he was like, why you do that? I said, because Black people, we don't care no more. We don't care. We don't got pride in ourselves like we used to. You got all kind of shit on television. We're not honoring, pretty much, y'all, bottom line, we're not honoring our ancestors. We're not. Some of us are. But when you look at how we're raising our kids, how far left we have allowed ourselves to get, I don't feel that as a people, we are honoring everything that has been given to us. I didn't even know how this video was going to be going this way, y'all. I was on here to talk about y'all fucking president because he ain't mine. But as I talk about him, it's making me think about our people and what his presidency could potentially do to us. Because see, when you talk about America, you talk about it from your perspective, and I can only talk about it from the perspective of a black woman who's 53 years old and the shit that I've seen. You know, I remember going, my mother getting on the bus, taking us to, maybe a Kmart, or because back then Kmart was big, and Kmart out in the suburbs. We going to get our, maybe some school clothes or a coat or something. And I remember sitting at a bus stop, and some white teenagers rolled by, and they were yelling the first time they rolled by. And then my mother took us and she put us behind the booth. When they rolled by the first time, we were sitting in the booth, and they were yelling, the N-word at us and all of that. My mother looked scared and she put us behind the booth. At the time, I probably was 13 years old. So this is roughly the late 70s. And I remember they came back around and they had some cans, like pop cans and pop bottles and stuff, and they were throwing it at us. And my mother told us to run back to the Kmart. And my mother was behind us running, because we were out in the suburbs. There was no place safe for us, And we ran back to the Kmart. And I remember my mother was standing in the doorway making sure that all of us were okay. It's 4 of us. And we waited a little bit, and my mother pulled out her bus schedule, and she was checking to see when the next bus came. So what she told us to do, she said, we're going to stand here in this doorway till about 5 minutes before the bus is supposed to be at this bus stop. And when I tell y'all to run, when we see this bus, I want y'all to run so we don't miss the bus, And I remember that. I remember running to the bus, my mother getting us all on the bus, sitting us down, and, she was shaking. She was shaking. And then we rolled the bus back to our neighborhood. I'll never forget that. I remember times when me and my brothers, we would go places that were out of our neighborhood, maybe where we shouldn't have been, maybe where it was a little dangerous for us, and being chased by a crowd of white people. I'm not in my 70s. I'm turning 53. I'm what's considered middle-aged. But the point I'm trying to make to y'all is this: we are reaping the rewards of our ancestors, of people that just 50 years ago, less than 50 years ago, were fighting for our rights. In my lifetime, I've had to run from white people chasing us for no reason. We were just sitting there. What could a mother and 3 of her kids sitting at a bus stop, what threat were we to them? Why did they ride around the corner and arm up with bottles and cans and throw it at us? This is when I was 13 years old. 13, y'all. Where we at? And another thing that I don't like about minorities, think about it if we stuck together. We went through the civil rights movement, as Black people. Right now, to me, when I look at the Mexicans and, other through their civil rights movement right now, especially the Mexicans, because the heat is on them. Why don't we support them? Why don't we step up and say, we've been where y'all are now, and we're gonna band together, and we're gonna show that united as minorities, we are mighty. We don't do that. Hell, we don't even fight for our damn selves. So, now I'm not gonna say all, because there's not all. We got some people out here that is fighting their ass off to make sure we maintain just what we have now. There's so many people doing that. But what I would like for us to do is, y'all, stay woke. Stay woke, because it's gonna take a lot of people to change what's happening right now. My fear is, once he's gone, what will America look like then? Hell, we was on shaky ground before he got into office. My mother said that when this man finally leaves office, it's going to be a lot of work that's going to have to be done to get America to just back where it was right as President Obama was walking to the helicopter, getting in, and flying away. We got a lot of repair work to get back to that, because this man has opened up a can of racism. White people is bold in the motherfucker, y'all, right now. They are bold. And where I live at in Ohio, I live in one of the major cities in Ohio. But all around me is these little neighboring little hick towns. Do you know that when they were saying where some of those people that went to Charlottesville came from, they were right around these little cities that I'm telling y'all about. They are right around where I live at. You know, Ohio is a red state, y'all. And then, how did Ohio get to be a red state? Isn't this where the slaves was trying to get to? You know, run north to Ohio. Y'all, there are places along the Ohio highways that are stops in the Underground Railroad. I posted a picture on one of my videos. Me and my kids, I was taking my daughter back to school one time, and we stopped to use the restroom and stretch our legs and get some cold to drink. And while my kids were over at the vending machines getting some pop or some sweets or whatever, I was standing there and I looked up, and it was literally a sign that said that this was a stop on the Underground Railroad. And I was standing there thinking like, okay, here I am with my two kids, and one of them back to college. And I touched that sign, and I was like saying to our ancestors, you know, I am part of the dream that you guys probably had. You know, no, we're not slaves anymore. We're able to vote now. We're able to go to pretty much whatever college we want to, because y'all, there's some places that we should not be, and I am part of the dream realized. I just want our people to take part, and I hope that God, y'all, I hope that when we have these midterm elections but the black people get out and represent, because in the end, y'all know that it's gonna be us that suffer from any shit that's going on in America. We gotta get out and vote, and that's pretty much, y'all. That's the only thing we got, is to play a part in what's going on in America. I'm so sick of Trump, y'all. You know what? I had started to actually do a video about this, but when I was, putting it together and figuring out what pictures I was going to use and trying to figure out how to edit, I was like, you know what? I don't even got the energy. I'm just going to get on and talk from the heart and just be myself. I'm so fucking sick of him. And it's only been a year. He was inaugurated January 20th. He came into office last year, January 20th. Y'all, today is January 19th. It ain't even been a year until tomorrow. But I'm so fucking sick of him. The confusion that he's had in 1 year, Obama didn't have in 8 years. And as much as I I'm not going to say I hated Bush. As much as I disliked Bush, I'd much rather have him than the fool that we got in the office today. This man got mental issues. He got issues with ego, and, all about the almighty dollar. Everything to him is about how much or what he can get out of it. He is not, I really don't believe, y'all, that his main objective is to make America better, leave us in a good place. I believe that everything that he's doing is to benefit him. I really do. And these senators that brainwash senators and brainwash segment of the United States, they can kiss my ass, y'all. I'm over them and this fucking president. Now, videos like this, y'all, on YouTube, watch. Like, if we try to monetize anything like this, they don't, where we're talking about ourselves, this will not be monetized. Trust me. I'm going to try to monetize and see what YouTube does. Because anytime I talk about anything to do with our people and shit that's going on in the Black community, that we're being affected by, you know, what's going on in Washington or something crazy, they done killed one of ours, YouTube be playing all kind of games, y'all. I guess what I'm saying is I'm just so almost sick of America right now. I love this country and everything. And I'm not one of those people that would say that within that sentence, with there's no other place in the world that I'd rather live, because hell, if I had the money, I probably would try to live in another country. We have been brainwashed also to believe that there's no other country that is as, you know, to live in as good as America. Y'all, I told y'all I used to be a travel agent. And I have traveled to other countries. And in some places, I didn't want to come back because it was so nice, so beautiful, so this, so that. We've been brainwashed to believe a lot about America. I don't believe that America, well, y'all know America has not been good for us. Anything we got, ain't nobody gave it to us. We fought, died, bled, begged, borrowed, stole to get it. Came before us did not have it easy. Y'all, I'm going to end this with, think about this. When you click off this video, live at. Think about you're going to, or whatever you have. Look at your kids' school and where they go to school. And think about this. Just 50 to 60 years ago, we did not have all of this. In my lifetime, I'm 50, I'll be 53 March 10th. 53 years ago, our lives are, as Black people, were not what we have now. That wasn't that long ago, y'all. And how we believe that it could never happen again. What have we always been taught? Never say never. You know? Now, I'm not saying that they could change and get us back on plantations and shit, because if they tried that shit with some of these thugs they got out here today, they would kill up quite a few people before, you know, they would be able to do anything with us. But I just want y'all to think about what's going on. And, you know, I guess I'm just disgusted. When I see him on television, I wish I had a dart gun or something to shoot the damn television. I can't stand this man, as y'all can see. I just can't stand him. And with that, y'all, I think I'm going to get out of here and try not to watch any news anymore. Today, at least. Because I don't want to say I don't want to watch, because I want to see what they're doing. Keep up on it. And pay attention. Right now, y'all, I'm watching where they showing these hoes that he used to mess around with, and how they paid them bitches off so they wouldn't go on television and talk about him right before, you know, he took office. Although he paraded all of Bill Clinton's bitches all across the television and made it seem like Bill Clinton was the only man in America who ever cheated on his wife. Lord, y'all, I'm done. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for stopping in, child. I don't know. Somebody said the video was staticky. I hope that you know, you heard, or I tried to use that damn microphone. That shit wasn't working. So y'all, I'm out. Have a good day. Stay safe out here, and pay attention to what's going on, y'all.